John writes, the reason the show is off the rails today, it's Friday the 13th. Next Friday is 420. That should be fun.
You know, do you think about what horror movies kids today watch? And the reason why I'm asking this question, I every Friday, we talk about this all the time.
I don't think Friday the 13th means what it once did.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at.
I was terrified. Friday the 13th, when I was a kid, I was convinced at some point today I'm going to get murdered.
When you were in 5th, 6th...
Like graphically murdered.
When you were in 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, Friday the 13th was a huge deal, right? Especially for boys.
Yeah, you were terrified. You go to bed, you'd look under the bed. I mean, you just knew you were going to get murdered.
Because of the movie. Okay, so I eat every Friday. I'm helping to mold the generation's minds. I eat with my little brother, Donovan, from Big Brothers Big Sisters. We have a table of 8 kids, and so I eat lunch with them every Friday. So I'm sitting there today, and I say, guys, today is Friday the 13th. No reaction. No reaction from any of them. And then I say, you guys know of Jason, right? Like Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, blank stares. These kids don't watch the horror movies anymore. So, and then I said, well, what kind of horror movies do you watch? And they were like, I guess, I thought maybe they would say like the Saw. I've never even watched those, but I thought maybe like they would say that.
I don't think it's the Saw. I think it's just
the Saw. The old man.
Like the internet.
The television.
The World Wide Web.
The information superhighway.
Yeah.
I said, what kind of horror movies do you guys watch? And they didn't name any. So has the horror movie genre just basically died? Because it used to be the most reliable horror movie watchers. When was the first time? You could probably remember the first time you watched a scary movie, right?
Friday the 13th is the one that got me. Friday the 13th, Part 3. Specifically.
Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 was the first movie I ever watched that was so scary.
I wouldn't even watch the Nightmare on Elm Street ones because I was like, I knew what Friday the 13th Part 3 did to me, and I didn't want to not be able to go to sleep. You know what I mean?
Right. So when every single person who is listening to us and is probably, under the age of 45, between the ages of 25 and 45, that whole generation was a horror movie generation, right? Everybody can trace watching one of those scary movies. It's Friday the 13th.
Like Cujo and Carrie.
Pet Cemetery, something. You can talk about the movie that you were not able to sleep after you watched. These kids, not the case anymore. And I was shocked by it.
So you're saying that the problem with today's youth is that we need to expose them to horror movies?
I don't know.
Or to eradicate the problems of today's youth.
Isn't it amazing that these kids don't watch horror movies? I was shocked that they didn't know Freddy Krueger and Jason.
I guess they don't sell
and
like
Michael Myers. Halloween is even more popular now than it was when we were kids, but it's not as, what are they watching to get scared?
I watched a 2-hour documentary about Halloween. I was tweeting about that.
I
thought it was fascinating. And the movie almost didn't take because when they originally reviewed it, the Hollywood studio executives, they didn't have that ridiculous theme song behind it at all. So it wasn't nearly as scary. And we've talked about this before, the effect that music has on life, but also in horror movies.
So we have the Still Ray Lewis thing that JT can play for us before we go of the horror movie. But remember, that's filmed based in Bowling Green.
Well, there's talk about that. The director grew up there.
Yeah, and so he used a lot of the same streets and
and like Russellville and stuff like I don't remember all the connections, but there were connections. And the mask, Michael Myers' mask, was based after William Shatner's face.
But
there was a William Shatner mask. That's right. They went and got some masks. One of them was Richard Nixon. They didn't go with that one.
You would be like crazy when you think of like every single person who's listening to us right now. We got loaded lines.
Yeah, we do.
737-1045 is our number. But would that not have shocked you if you were sitting at a table with 7th graders and you said, it's Friday the 13th? When I was in 7th grade.
Meant nothing to them.
No, it doesn't spiral. No conversation ensued.
Like that means nothing. Like Thursday the 12th.
Oh, and one of them was like, that's supposed to be like a scary day. And I was like, you don't know Jason? They're like, who is he? I said, he's the hockey mask. He kills everybody.
So did the movie make the day scary, or did the day lead them to make that movie?
Kirby says it's the latter.
So why shouldn't the day still be scarily significant?
You would think. It's rare. I remember, it is a massively important day, but I just can't believe, I was stunned that none of these kids were aware of the happenings of Friday the 13th.
Like if I were a hockey player playing in that game tonight, the Preds and the Red Wings, I would be convinced that I was going to lose a limb or something, because it's Friday the 13th.
You know what this made me think is that your boy Connor is how old, 9?
Almost 8.5.
Okay, so at about 10, you could freak all of these 10-year-olds out
By showing them that movie?
if you got, like, Nightmare on Elm Street. Because none of them have any clue. Like, at least when you got scared.
I think my wife would probably divorce me.
When you got scared, the other parents would be furious. But some of the dads would probably secretly give you a fist bump.
You mean like all the kids in the neighborhood?
Like
scream Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah, you have a sleepover, and you show them Nightmare on Elm Street. Because at least when I was a kid, how much scarier would Nightmare on Elm Street be if you didn't even know that somebody named Freddy Krueger had ever existed? Think about how much creepier that would be. Because even before you watched the Nightmare on Elm Street movie, you knew about the black striped sweater. You knew about the razor blade fingers, the scary face, the scary hat, that awful, terrifying Nightmare on Elm Street 1, 2. I mean, the thing just gives you, like, it makes everybody just cringe. You can feel the hair on the back of your.
For me, it's simply the Halloween theme music.
The Halloween theme, but you knew all of these killer people existed. Your 10-year-old son doesn't even really know who Freddy Krueger is. How much scarier would that be? Don't even get me started on the fact that the reason why Nightmare on Elm Street's so scary is everybody dreams. Theoretically.
Well, now I have a response. My 5-year-old lately has been wanting to sleep in his big brother's bed. And I asked her, I said, Will, why won't you sleep in your own room? He said, little guys get scared sometimes, Daddy. And now my response needs to be, well, wait till I show you Nightmare on Elm Street tomorrow night.
You don't have a reason to be scared yet, kiddo.
Yeah, you have no idea what you're talking about. Wendy on his cell next up on 3HL. Hey, Wendy.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to tell y'all my daughter's 10 and is a huge horror movie nut. She's been watching horror movies since she was like 5. She loves.
So you got her started though. Like the other girls know these movies.
Well, probably not. She wore her Freddy versus Jason T-shirt to school today on behalf of it being Friday the 13th.
That's really funny.
She loves
the
old cheesy Happy Birthday to Me movie.
I forgot about those.
She's brave if she's been watching them since she was 5. Does she sleep by herself?
Yes, totally.
Wow.
She takes up her dad with that because I'm a major chicken with all that stuff. But she loves them. People think that we're weird to let her watch that stuff, but I would rather her know that it's not real and have no problem with it. But yeah, big horror movie fan. Her and her dad went as a daddy-daughter date to see whenever they redid the Friday the 13th movie a few years ago. He had to hide her eyes for some TNA moments, but, for the most part.
Oh, yeah.
So.
What's crazy is our generation. How old are you, Wendy?
37.
Okay, 37. So our generation was so steeped in horror movies that they could make horror movies like Scream, which was the entire purpose of those movies was satirizing, spoofing the existence of these other horror movies, right? It was still, I love the Scream series, but kids today would not even understand the Scream series because they don't have that knowledge steeped in growing up watching all these scary slasher movies.
Exactly, because parents won't let them watch it. And
you think that's what it is?
Yeah, and I would rather her know that it's not real because I was scared to death of Freddy. Completely terrified. I mean, I was probably around her age, a little bit older when the first Nightmare on Elm Street came out. Terrified of the first movie. She has all of the Freddy movies on DVD. She has all of the Michael Myers. She has all of the Jasons. I'm telling y'all, and just loves them. Loves them.
All right, Wendy, thank you. 737-1045. When we come back, we'll try to find that Ray Lewis with the Halloween theme music. If
That'll
you haven't
scare
heard it,
you to death.
If you haven't heard it, you have to hear it. This is something that we used to do when we were on Noon to 3, and we'll play that for you when we come back. Again, broadcasting live from TSU's Gentry Center. Got a celebrity basketball game tonight. Big roster on hand. Tell you more about that as we roll forward. 3HL 1045 The Zone. JT, do you have our terrifying Ray Lewis speech set to Halloween theme music?
Yes, fans. Yes. Yes, who their livelihoods do this research if we don't have a season. Watch how much evil, which we call it crime. Watch how much crime picks up if you take away our game.
Ooh, that's terrifying. Ray Lewis is scary anyway. You throw some Halloween theme music on that? Can't do it.
Ray Lewis is the voice of
Reason?
A killer. Which may not be too far from the truth based on what went down in Atlanta a few years ago. That dude's voice is terrifying. and it's the intensity. See, what's scary about some people's voices is not necessarily how they sound. It's the words that they choose to use for inflection. Like Ray Lewis, you don't know what's coming because one moment he's talking, the next moment he's like, and what we call crime. You'll be like, I don't know what this dude's about to do. He might cut me. And it's all where the word choice. Just do that sometime. If you want to scare somebody, go out to the bar, be having a regular conversation, have 2 beers, and then be like, yeah, I think Kobe's going to make some shots. And people will be like, this dude is crazy.
Put the inflection on an unexpected word. Yeah.
Unexpected word inflection.
He was talking.
Is one of the scariest things you could do.
He was talking about what would happen to society if there were an NFL lockout. That's what he was talking about.
Back in the summer. Yeah.
JT, can we hit that again?
Yes, fans. Yes. Yes, who their livelihoods do this research if we don't have a season. Watch how much evil, which we call it crime. Watch how much crime picks up if you take away our game.
Y'all are sitting in traffic on I-65 right now just terrified. You're looking all around you, hoping not to see Ray Lewis.
Chill bumps on the arms. You're like, I didn't know it was so cold this car. I didn't mean to turn the air on. It's 65 degrees out there.
Y'all are looking in your back seat to make sure Ray Lewis isn't back there. That's what's happening because of that music.
Speaking of scary movies and how it can change your impression and your lifestyle, ever since that stupid movie with the Noxzema girl who, spoiler alert, it's like 1998.
Wait, yesterday's spoiler alert was
Mary Goes Blind and Little House on the Prairie
Goes Blind.
Got to be spoiler alert. If you haven't seen, what's the movie where the Noxzema girl is the killer, Rebecca Gayheart? Urban Legend.
I haven't seen
Urban Legend. The most terrifying thing to me, there are several things that are terrifying.
Rebecca Gayheart, who is from Kentucky.
But
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. Thank God my last name is not Gayheart. It would be a disaster on Twitter. Sitting in the back with an axe. I always check my car as if somebody's going to be hiding in the back to chop my head off because of Urban Legend. If somebody in Nashville, if you wanted to just send the city of Nashville into absolute
don't
terror,
even go down this path. Don't even go down this path.
If somebody hit in the back of a car
don't suggest anyone
and chopped the head off, and it's an urban legend. That's why it's so scary. But if somebody got their head chopped off from somebody hiding in the back of the car, no one would leave their house for like a month. I don't think I'd do the show. I would not go outside. I'd be like, there might be somebody in the back of my car with an axe to chop my head off. I'll call in today.
On Twitter, at 3HL1045, Tiffany writes, thanks a lot, Clay. Now I'm terrified. Forgot it was Friday the 13th. Note to self, never go to a cabin with your friends. Especially like the scantily clad women that go to the cabin. And then
that's where I want to be, by the way. I'm not going to complain about that. I hate when the girls go and they take their clothes off and they go swimming. This is terrifying to me. The scary one about the rural.
They always try to run through the woods, in the hill breaks or whatever. And Jason, for example, is never running. He's
always
just walking. Yeah, and
that's like Urban Meyer. Yeah. That's how Urban Meyer always wins football games.
Urban Meyer's like Freddie. It's like Meyer, Jason.
Yeah, he's like a horror figure. Everybody else is running in crazed directions, everything else. Urban Meyer just calmly. He's always like cleaning off his knife too from the last person he killed. Like wiping the blood off on the shoulder. So he's just frantically running.
He's like saying, "Go Gator."
Yeah. Frantically running, doing the gator chomp with the razor blades.
Alan at Bellevue next up on 3HL. Alan, what's up?
Man, I'm glad. I'm about Clay's age. Well, I think we're the exact same age, actually. And I grew up with all the classics. But there's a story I've been holding on to. It was completely emasculating. But, the Scream series came out, Clay. I believe we were in high school, 16, 17, somewhere around there. And
97, I think, was the first Scream.
Yeah,
96. Okay.
That movie,
it's awesome.
Yeah, and it really was scary, for it to be making fun, be kind of a spook of a scary.
Oh, it was that opening of Scream.
The scene with Drew Barrymore at the beginning
one
is
of the
ridiculous.
Best opens of all time.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler, yeah.
And me and we were all, football wrestlers, tough guys, and like me and three buddies went and watched that movie, and all our girlfriends were doing like a slumber party deal, and so we went and watched it, and we got done. We got in the car, and obviously the thought process was to go over there and like set them up to scare them or whatever. So we're like practicing the Scream voice and, practicing the lines we're going to say and how we're going to get them and where we're going to hide. And about that time, all three of them had been laying in the back seat of his Blazer, like the very back, the penalty box of the Blazer. And jumped up. We were in Bellevue. I mean, they heard the entire conversation of what we were going to do, how we were going to scare them. The guy's dad had unlocked the car while we were in the movies and let them in there. And just, I mean, awful. I mean, not only were we embarrassed for getting caught, but then they scared us. So we pulled over in River Plantation and we're like, get out. Well, they had a car following us, and they had thought of everything. Just demoralized, destroyed. I mean, to be practicing the scream voice and how we were going to scare them and them to be hidden in the car was
That's brutal. Really funny. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate you. Matt on Twitter, I literally checked my rearview mirror listening to Ray Lewis with that music. 4:59 the time. When we come back, we'll hit you with the headlines, and we'll go through the loaded phone lines. 737-1045-866-492. Hit us on Twitter if you can't get through, at 3HL1045. Brent and Clay hanging out with you. Blaine has a day off.
Check the back seat right now.
Right now.
Could be somebody with an axe.
You're looking in the back seat right now. You're sitting in traffic. You're thinking somebody might be back there. They're going to lob my head off if I don't turn around and look. But honestly, if you look, what are you expecting to find? Because if somebody is sitting back there with a machete.
I look every single time.
Dan Wetzel has never been welcomed into a radio show with horrific music like that, I'm willing to bet. Dan, what's going on?
What's going on with you guys?
It's Friday the 13th, Dan.
Oh, it is. Well, there you go.
See, that's what I'm saying.
What was your favorite horror movie growing up?
It might have been Friday the 13th or Halloween. Something like that. One of those.
Like, you watched them, right? So the story that we had today was I went out, I eat with 7th grade boys in the lunchroom every Friday. I sit down, try to think of things to talk about.
That's a scary movie.
Yeah, that's a scary movie for the city of Nashville. I do I'm a big brother, big sister program, so every Friday I go out to H.G. Hill Elementary School, sit down with my little brother Donovan, and we talk, and we hang out, and he has a bunch of his friends there. And so it's Friday the 13th. When I was in, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, Friday the 13th was a big deal because basically the most exciting thing you could do was get to watch scary movies on the weekend. Like, you'd have people come over and spend the night. You'd all gather around. You'd watch scary movies. It was absolutely outstanding. But nowadays, kids don't watch the scary movies anymore.
Well, because the internet.
None of them knew about it.
Yeah, it's not the same because you got much more exciting entertainment options. Then did you ever see that movie? It was like a tape of Faces of Death.
Oh, that was awful. That was real. I don't like real scary stuff.
Real death. Yeah, that was sweet. But today on thebiglead.com, I watched some dude get shot during an LA police chase.
Oh wow. I didn't see that. But so
you're talking about real life horror. We're not interested in that. We're interested in Drew Barrymore looking through a plate glass window.
Make believe, big girls topless getting chased by guys with knives. That's what I'm after.
Yeah, I think the world's just gotten a lot easier to watch stuff.
All right, you killed animals today. Tell us about your life today.
I did not kill an animal. First off, there was the possum lived, but
you have a possum that's inside your house?
There was a possum in my garage, but I called the critter catcher. There's no way I was catching this thing myself.
How did the possum get into your garage? Did you see him?
When Clay told the story, he made it sound like you caught the possum.
I thought that's what happened.
No way.
All right, so what did you do? Did you feel like less of a man? You watched the man catch the possum at your house?
I watched the man. I paid a man to catch a possum at my house.
So what did you do?
Well, I think my wife left the door of the garage. There's a garage door, and then there's another door, just a regular door. She left that open. So I went in the other day, and I saw the door was open. I just threw the garbage in the can, and the cans are all covered. And then I closed it. But then I think the possum was stuck in there for 2 days. So it was wasn't good. But the possum lived. And he's now been set free somewhere in the woods of Michigan, supposedly, or else this guy's cooking up possum tonight.
All right, so
that's disgusting. Is that what they do in Detroit?
I don't know what this guy does. He was
what did it cost
at all?
What did it cost to have the possum captured by a man who's more of a man than you?
Well, I mean, it's a little emasculating, but I'm secure in my manhood that I have absolutely I'm not even going to pretend that I had the guts to go catch the possum. Plus, I did not have the little noose thing this guy had. He had this little...
What did it cost?
I don't know, whatever it was. He swung it around the dude's neck, tightened it up, boom, pulled him right out. So I didn't even have...
That's pretty impressive.
It was awesome. It was impressive. But yeah, it's a little emasculating. But whatever. I'm not going to pretend I'm tough enough to catch a possum. Scared me. I was scared.
Dan, how are Red Wings fans reacting up there with Shea Weber not getting suspended in this game and losing game one?
Like the possum, I think they were. Yeah, not happy. I mean,
oh, man.
He should have been suspended a game, but this is the NHL, and there are no rules. So it's like, you can get all upset about it because objectively, if you look at the rules, I mean, he tried to slam a dude's head into the board. He should be suspended a game. But since this is the NHL and has been for, 80 years, you can't ever expect that, anything's going to happen. So,
will there be retaliation by the Red Wings players, you think?
Yes, I think there will be retaliation by the Red Wing players.
How do you
spell
spell
This is a team
possum?
that knows the decorum of the playoffs, and so they'll send somebody out. And that's
Dan,
actually the problem with this, is why the game gets so crazed, is that they don't handle it. I mean, it's a one-game suspension. You can't fine a guy $2,500. Someone was like, for the average person, that was a $14.10 fine.
Oh, we had Preds fans sending us messages saying, can I give $2,500 to ram Red Wings players' heads into the wall?
That's the most they can be fined under the CBA. All right, you were texting me earlier. It's a big dispute all over the country. How do you spell the word possum? Do you go with the O, the silent O, or not?
I do the silent O, but I think that's the guy that would call someone to get his possum spells it with the O. And I think the guy that would catch the possum and maybe eat the possum, straight P, drop the O.
I'll tell you that on my text, when I texted you, it immediately switched. It immediately put possum with a P, not an O.
Well, Nashville, is it like Nashville spell check?
Nashville spell check. It's like the OPP, like Bobby Petrino there.
But if I was in Manhattan, spell check would immediately throw the O on.
Oh, this sounds like the soundtrack to a porno movie that just barreled in here. What's going on here?
Nothing will turn you on.
Can you hear that? Can people hear that on the radio? This is uncomfortable. It's like
I don't know. I couldn't hear Dan anymore.
I know. I just hear a crooning voice.
Dan's having to deal with possums and getting overridden by porn music.
Deep Throat just came on in the background here.
So Clay, how would you spell possum?
I would spell it Possum.
I think that's the traditional Southern spelling.
Meaning incorrect?
No, I don't know what's correct. I think that we just have a different dialect.
Let's do this. Let's take a break. 3HL 1045 The Zone. Thanks, Dan. Let's go back to the phones. We've been talking a lot about scary movies and why Friday the 13th as a day is not as significant as it once was.
JT, by the way, just sent out this tweet. We've been sniped, but we've also been porned for the first time. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah,
like
that
I said,
tough.
it was like all of a sudden the 3HL audio, we just turned into a porno station for a second there. It's what it sounded like.
I don't think advertisers would like that. Ken in Nashville next up. Hey, Ken, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I think three movies y'all probably watched about 4 or 5 years old. It was Phantasm, Tall Man, The Omen, and Hellraiser, Pinhead. And
Pinhead.
Yeah, Pinhead. But my last comment is
just the image of that guy, that face, scares the crap out of me.
Right, and the Tall Man with the spear with the little, I guess it was the ball with a little razor coming out of it at you. But my last comment is about getting your feet done. I read twice, and the first thing when I got back to Ship of Mississippi was get my feet done because it was rough over there. But y'all have a good weekend, guys. Thanks. Bye.
Ken hit on both of the ongoing topics today. Men and pedicures and scary movies.
Yes.
Friday the 13th when we were kids, terrifying day. Everyone went around, walking around talking about it, and I was convinced, again, when I was a kid, I was convinced on Friday the 13th at some point during the day I was going to get murdered.
And it's like 5th,
graphically.
6th, 7th grade kids used to be like the highlight of they were the Friday the 13th wheelhouse. And now it's like they don't even pay attention to it anymore. It's amazing.
737-1045. Chad Withrow, I still pee my pants every time I think of those creepy children in the corn.
Oh, that was pretty scary.
Lots of listeners in Kentucky concur with that. You know, when you have cornfields next to you?
Yes. To me, much more terrifying than being in a city. We've had this discussion before. I live in the city. Never at any point have I ever been scared. I mean, it's like I have neighbors.
I want as many people around me as possible.
Right. My fear is...
That way, at least somebody saw something.
My fear is in rural areas, right? What was that movie where they just take over the house and like the people just come in and cut all the power and they just take over the house? That's terrifying. That's what's really scary to me. Anytime I'm in the woods, I just think somebody could kill me and I could be here for a week or a month. Nobody would even notice.
That's right. Scott writes, Jaws at the drive-in, 9 years old, good parenting.
Jaws is the scariest movie of all time. It has more impact on life today than any scary movie that's ever been made in the history of cinema.
Phil writes, scariest horror movie I ever saw, Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Remember we had...
Seriously, he writes.
To talk about the impact that Jaws has had, when we were having the lottery talk, when the $600 million was out there, our program director, Brad Willis, came in and he said, you are 100 times more likely to have Siamese twins than you are to get killed by a shark. We've all had
that kind
kids.
of puts it into perspective.
Between you and me, we've had 5 kids. At no point, I had lots of fears about becoming a parent, but at no point was, I hope I don't have Siamese twins. Yet, every time I get into a pool, even a pool, if it's dark, I'm like, there might be a shark in here. It's fresh water. It's fresh water. And I think, there's a possibility there's a shark in here.
There could have been a flood at some time. Shark could have washed
any
away.
point.
I mean, if there's a bear walking around downtown Los Angeles,
oh, yeah,
there could be a shark in a swimming pool.
And did you see the bear, as now bears are, did you see the bear, the guy was walking, texting?
Yes.
and he wasn't looking, and then the bear was there.
Well, I mean, you don't expect to see that. I mean,
L.A.
Ice Cube with like a sawed-off shotgun. I could see that in downtown Los Angeles. Not a bear walking around.
It was perfect, because I walk and text all the time. If I thought that there was a possibility that while I was walking and texting, I would look up and see a bear, I don't think I would ever walk and text.
We tweeted that out, but you can search that on YouTube. Christine, Phil writes, the car will never die. John, in 1979, I saw Amityville Horror at the midnight showing. I couldn't look out a window at night for 5 years.
I think Jaws is the most impactful. It's the only scary movie I ever watched as a kid that continues to impact me today. Like, I don't go to bed now thinking, man, I hope Freddy Krueger doesn't kill me while I'm sleeping tonight. But every time I go in the ocean, I think, I'm probably going to get eaten by a shark. Very unlikely.
Should make yourself shark zone.
And you feel like you have to be lying to your kid. He's like, are there sharks in here? Will they do anything to me? No, they'll never do anything to me. But meanwhile, like a bad rogue wave hits you the wrong way, and you're like, that's a shark fin.
No, that's true. Eric writes, Pekka Rinne should come out in the Jason hockey mask tonight. That would be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That would be terrifying.
Spooky.
Red Wings would just go diving around. They wouldn't know what to do. Jonathan in Kentucky, children of the corn, just because the field next to my house was a cornfield. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, lots of things can happen.
5:39 the time. Let's go back to the phones. Randolph in Nashville next up. Randolph, what's going on?
Hey, 2 points. Candyman, turn out the bathroom light, say Candyman 3 times.
Same thing with
yeah,
Bell.
that's right.
Same thing with the Bell Witch.
That's
that used
the
to be
Bell Witch.
terrifying to do too.
What's up, Hawk? Go Prez, baby. Randolph. Thank you. Appreciate it. Lavelle Hawkins walking by. Vince Young, some of the participants tonight.
Lavelle, come here for a sec. When you were growing up, did you like to watch scary movies?
Hang on.
Absolutely not.
Do you remember a movie, like I went to talk to the kids today, Friday the 13th, right?
Right.
You're growing up, Friday the 13th, you thought about scary movies, right?
Yes, I did. See, I was one of those scary guys. I was scared of like Chucky.
All those
and
guys.
like Leprechaun and stuff.
Everybody, that's like the highlight, right? You watch all those scary movies.
Right.
Kids today, like you have a little brother. Does he watch all the scary movies? Because when I went out to the 7th graders to talk today, none of them thought that Friday the 13th was a big deal. They didn't know Freddy Krueger. They didn't know Jason.
Yeah.
Michael Myers. None of those guys.
I don't think they really pay
They don't pay attention anymore.
Attention to it anymore, yeah.
It's kind of sad, isn't it?
It's crazy, man.
I mean, did you even know that it's Friday the 13th today? And the day just doesn't hold what it used to,
I promise you I did not know. Because if I would have known, I probably wouldn't have came.
When you were a kid, you knew. That's right.
Yes, I did.
All right.
Congrats on the contract, man.
Yeah. Good to see you, man. All right. Said he's going to come back. Otis and Franklin next up on 3HL. Otis, what's going on?
Hey. Go on. Chucky
Otis.
The doll.
The Chucky doll was scary. We lose Otis. Did Otis get taken out? Somebody in the back of his seat?
No.
I was trying to figure out if Otis was even talking to us.
I have somebody in the back seat, but he's asleep. He's only 6. So could you imagine?
Hey, sleeping 6-year-old, that is definitely not scary.
But could you imagine if they read that Child's Play and put Tickle Me Elmo in there instead of Chucky, and then showed it to kids these age, wow.
That's a good point. Yeah, you take the kid's favorite toy.
And you turn it into a killing machine.
Like you put the Power Rangers in a movie, and they're like, they're just slicing and dicing people.
Those damn Wiggles. I'd like to watch a movie where those damn Wiggles got
The Wiggles turn into serial killers?
Start dancing. Next thing you know, they don't have heads. Oh, I might make that movie. I hate those guys.
Ken next up. Hey, Ken.
Wiggles, man. They've ruined my
guys.
They are kind of terrifying. Hey, man.
Y'all remember the little song from Freddie, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The little 1-2, Freddie's coming for you. Yeah. But anyway, I went and saw the original Friday the 13th, on Friday the 13th, that summer it was released.
That's pretty cool.
Years old, and I was freaking petrified.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that movie, that's what Lavelle was just saying with us. He agrees. He has a younger brother who he helps out with. And that generation's just not in. They're not all in on the horror movies. This is no big deal to them.
Chris writes, if Vince throws a pass to Hawkins tonight, would it be their first completion?
Perhaps.
That's tough. Matt, I already read that. I literally checked my rear view mirror listening to Ray Lewis with that music. We continue. Tara writes, all clear in the back seat. That's good. Chris on the cell next up on 3HL. Hey, Chris.
Hey, guys. Just got a couple of movies. Don't know if you guys remember it, but back in the, I guess, maybe late 70s, early 80s, there was a movie that came out called Razorback about a killer Razorback hog, which you see so much stuff on TV now about the overpopulation of hogs in certain places. I mean, that's a pretty fitting movie for now. And there's a movie out that's not really a horror movie, but it's a movie called Vacancy about this couple that breaks down on the highway and goes to this hotel and stays overnight. And they turn on the TV and start watching it, and it's actually a video of people being killed in the room that they're staying in. I love it.
All right, I'm out. That sounds too scary to me.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you, man.
Oh, that's spooky.
Andrew, thanks, guys. By myself on the second floor at work. Think I just saw Ray Lewis's shadow.
The scariest.
That means 6 more weeks of winter.
The urban legend of the, 6. Or winter. We haven't had winter this year.
Yeah, or just having winter for the first time. You're right. Charlie writes, Lingerie Football League takes the year off. That's a scary story.
That's terrifying. Are we getting porno influence here again? Can people hear this or just us?
No, people can hear it. Big Perm on Twitter. I've never heard an ending to a segment like that. That's when the music took over our station.
Porn music.
Jason, could the show get any stranger? I think not. Happy Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Maybe this is the reason.
Maybe so. We've been in lots of places. I've never seen a radio frequency take over our frequency. I'm not even sure how that's possible. We were attacked with porn music. It was a terrorist porn attack.
Parker writes, guys, I think I have the best possum story out there. Found him in the pan drawer under my stove.
That sounds scary, man.
That would be terrifying. I mean, you think you're going to get like a cookie sheet or something, and you find a live possum?
When I was living in St. Thomas, we had tree rats. And a tree rat is like the size of a possum. And it's mean. Like, most rats, if they see you, they run. This rat, like, sees you and it wants to fight. I mean, I had to get that thing out of our house. And that might be the most terrified I've ever been. My wife came in, saw it. It was sitting on the counter, looking at us like ready to fight. Wife ran to the bedroom, locked the door, said, you get it. She wouldn't come out. That's terrifying. Because otherwise, we'd have to give up the house. I mean, I contemplated just moving to a new place instead of trying to get that tree rat out. He wanted to kill me.
On Twitter, at 3HL1045, Blazing Caucasian writes, scariest thing this Friday the 13th, I've been married to the same woman for 11 years today. Happy anniversary to the Caucasian concubine, he writes.
It's probably because she doesn't know Bobby Petrino. Gotta watch out for him.
It's been a memorable show. Lots of crazy things have happened today.
No, it's Friday the 13th. That's to be expected.
So next Friday is 420. So what's going to happen next Friday?
Oh, Parking Lot John will probably try to call. That'll be entertaining. He's already done for that day.
Yeah, we're standing outside so the music doesn't take over the show. And now we're being asked, which door do the pros go in?
Which door do the pros go in? Really not the one we're going in. Some guy also asked me where the bathroom was. If you see a guy in a headset talking on a microphone is your first thought, that guy, he knows bathrooms. He's here to put the headphones on and stand with the mic to point people to the bathroom.
And he knows where the pros go.
Where the pros go. That's the Titans Pro Shop, right?
It's the Titans
Their slogan.
Yeah, go see Christopher Smith down there. All right, Chad Withrow is going to rescue us. Just look at it this way. You'll never get these 3 hours back, and we'll have another chance on Monday. We appreciate you putting up with us. Hit us on Twitter at 3HL1045. For Blaine, Clay, Brent, Kirby, JT, we're out. Have a great weekend.